Good morning, my dear friends. Gord, you're hurting Hippie here. And welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to Hippie Cooks. Today, we are cooking buffalo steak, bison steak. I've got some wonderful, wonderful steaks, but first we have to brine the steak. So it's early in the morning. I researched brining, and let me just get a little more comfortable. I researched brining of a buffalo steak, a bison steak. And the person that I saw do it did a 24-hour brine, a half-day brine, or just cooked it regular. And the 24-hour brine seemed to make it a little more tough. The half-day seemed to make it perfectly tender, less chewy, more beefy flavored. I don't know why they use the word beef. It ain't beef. Anyways, friends, that means wake up early, and just as I got the coffee going here, yeah, there's the coffee, just as it got going, I've got to get going and get the brine on the steak and get it into the fridge. So what do we need, friends? We need our handy rack, because the steaks need to sit up high. They should not be, they need to have oxygen all around them. Have your phone, a good coffee cup, some fresh coffee. I'm getting better at holding this and doing things, hey? Because you gotta have your fresh coffee. Oh, and hey, come with me. Let's get the steaks. 3 glorious bison steaks. So now I gotta put this down, and now you're gonna see how I do this. And of course, I'm working out how to do it as we go along. I've done some brining. Yeah, always want to have a nice, good knife with you. Get these steaks out of their cage. And here we are, 3 gorgeous steaks and 1 little piece that came off. Now, a simple brine is very simple. That's why they call it a simple brine. Let's actually get this looking at the steak. And simply get some, be generous. Be generous with your salt. I'm going to put more on it too. I'm just covering it all, and then be more generous. Cover it good. This salt is going to work at breaking down this meat. Now, turn the steak. You do not need to put any salt or pepper, because we're going to wash this brine off right once we're ready to cook. And here we are. We're turned over. Now again, plenty. Do not be afraid to use extra salt. This is going to wash off, but most of it's going to go deep inside the muscle tissue. Get under those folds. And friends, we're simply going to take that, put it away in the fridge, and I'll be back later this afternoon. We're having baked potato with ours. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Chef Gord Cooks a Buffalo. Friends, it's about an hour and 15 minutes, about that, an hour and 10 minutes before I want to be serving. So these potatoes take an hour. So you have to get started right about now. Preheat your oven. to 350. Grab 3 nice potatoes. These are good russet potatoes. Russet makes the best baked potato. You need to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on it. And while I remember the hippie had, looky here. I have taken, little flyover, I have taken the steak out of the fridge just now, about an hour before. It needs to come up to temperature. Reason being is if you cook it when it's really cold, you're going to get searing on the outside and raw on the inside. You want it room temperature. An hour. You don't need any more than that. And depending on the heat outside, it's kind of a cooler day, so an hour is good here. If it were really hot, maybe half an hour. Now back to the potatoes. Sprinkle a little bit of oil on each one. That's a Gordon Ramsay little bit. He always says 1 tablespoon, then pours half a cup. Get that oil all around the potato. All around it. Clean off those hands. Good to have a cloth with you. But of course your hand's going to get dirty again because I forgot. Poker full of holes. Yes, you want at least, and this is a better thing to do when it isn't oily. Be careful, don't hurt yourself. If you don't think you can do this part, you'll have to cook it just a bit longer, and it just won't cook exactly the same, but it'll still be okay. This is getting harder and harder to do as the fork is getting difficult to pull out because my hands are oily. But friends, there's the holes poked in. Kosher salt. Put it all around it. Last time I put too much, and I had much grainier salt. This is nicer, it's a little more ground. Still, I find kosher salt is going to give you the best return. I've kind of almost switched 100% to kosher. And now, once you have those done, wait for the oven to preheat. Put them bare on the rack with a cookie sheet under it to catch the drippings. Set your timer for an hour, and in half an hour, you're going to start working on the steak. So I'll see you in 30 minutes or so. We're back. And cooking, my friends. Cooking, my friends. And we're back. Hello, my dear friends. Now it's time to get busy on the steak. The potatoes have been in the oven for half an hour, and it's all about timing. It's figuring out how long you need. And a good lean steak like that, that's about 1 inch thick, is going to take 6 to 8 minutes per side. Now, stay tuned because I don't just do 8 minutes per side. I do it a certain way, and it depends on the steak, and it depends on the pan, and it depends on a lot of things. But first, I'm trying to time it right that about the same time as the potatoes are ready, the steak will be resting. So, I'm going to now, I have the steak, has been at room temperature for almost an hour, 45 minutes. And I'm going to wash the brine off, and then we're going to re-season them. And while we're re-seasoning, we're going to heat up the frying pan, put a little bit of olive oil in it. Olive oil because we want a high heat when it hits the pan, so it'll sear and bind to the bottom because it'll later release itself. But then, this is, as you can see, very, very lean meat. So we're going to be adding a lot of butter while we're cooking, but we're going to turn the temperature down. More of that in a bit. But first, let's get this steak over here and let's wash it up. up that pan, grab a bit of olive oil, turn the temperature up to medium high. I've gone crooked. There we go. I use a cast iron pan when I'm cooking steak that the base of a cast iron pan will stick to that steak and will form a good crust while cooking the inside carefully. It's a beautiful way to cook steak. Now our pan is nice and hot. We know that by dropping a little bit of water, and there we go. This is the right temperature. Now we're going to turn it down and just a little bit, still medium high, but just a little bit, and get your steak in there. Let it sit. Find a spot that it'll fit. It's all right to adjust them for a little bit here. And now we want that on now we want the temperature at medium to medium high, more medium, because we're going to cook this about 6 minutes aside, flip it, and then a couple of minutes per side flipping again. Form the thickest crust. So keep watching. Because I don't want to keep giving you that view. It's just too close and it's going to hurt the camera. So now we want to make sure that we have some butter available, because we're going to, I'm like a chicken with my head cut off sometimes. We are now going to flip these over. It's been 6 minutes and it's not quite a good crust yet, so we're going to cook that a little longer. As you see, that one kind of bulked up on me, but it'll adjust. There we go. Flip. And now we are going to add just a little bit of butter on each one. And let the butter drip off, because it's going to help, now that the butter's in there, slightly lower temperatures for the next 6 minutes, and we're going to get a crust on this side. Then we're going to flip it in that butter and olive oil mixture. Then we're going to flip it in that butter and olive oil mixture for the final 2 minutes per side, and it's going to crisp up real nice while still being relatively medium to medium rare on the inside. That's my hopes. We'll be back. Well, I remember another reason for using butter on steak, especially this cut sirloin, and especially lean like buffalo, is because it's so lean that without cooking it with some fat, it's not going to have the juices you want. It's going to be more roast beefish. I'll be back again. We've got a couple minutes left per side. We've done the 6 minutes per side, and you can see there's a little bit of a sear starting. And now I've turned the heat back up, and for these last couple of minutes we are going to hit it with some hard heat. The inside is probably already cooked. Just get that crispness on the outside and then let her rest. We'll be back. Ooh, we are there. We are done. These have a beautiful sear on them. getting them off the frying pan. Turn down your frying pan. If it's cast iron, put a little bit of water in it and let it, you could make a jus from this stuff, but I'm not going to. And look at that. Didn't use the thermometer. I don't need it. I think I've got a good temperature on the steak, and we will find out in 7 minutes after they rest. Always rest your steaks. I'll be back. Next, you'll see me plating. I'll plate it, and then we'll just taste it. So next time you talk to me, I'm tasting it. Peace. He plays games and has his food in front of him. I'm actually going to take a taste, my friends. I've cut a little bit here, and I had that piece without the horseradish, so I could taste it real good without that getting in the way. Now I'm going to have a piece with horseradish. And I'll tell you, it's a little tough. I maybe put too much oil and steamed the meat a bit too much, but it tastes really good. Thanks for being a part of this. How do you like it, Pasha?
Thanks, God.
Look at the camera. How do you like it, Pasha?
I like it.
How about you, Gord?
I'll tell you in 1 second.
We're about to find out. Just say.
Man.
When they're speechless, I think I've done a good job. Time for me to get busy eating. Peace and cheers, love and harmony. Catch you on the flip side.